I can't hear you, but hi. I think you came in muted. Uh,
I think you're muted.
Oh, there you go. Now you're unmuted, Amy or Allie.
Oh, can you hear me now?
yeah,
Yep.
hi, how are you?
Good, good. Can't wait for this week. It's all getting warm and sunny.
I know, right? I just want to be outside. And there's Ann Wynn. Yay! I haven't seen you in forever. I haven't seen either of you in forever. It's so good to see you, like physically see you. Thank you for coming. And Bill and Nancy, I see you, and Amy and Donna. I don't see you, but I see you're on. And I think we have a small group today, which is really exciting because that way we can really dive into this. And remember to ask any questions you might have. Katie Shive, who is in Hawaii right now, is going to be monitoring this. And if you have any questions, please put them in chat, because I think you guys are amazing to show up, because I think this is like, when we did this, I will share. Katie's like, Katie, what is your Yelp email tied to? Like, I didn't have it tied to our Kay Rice at Guild Mortgage. I didn't have it to our team. So she had to get it all straightened out. And, you know, she's like, oh, this is all set up wrong, you know, like, so I think it'll give all of us a chance to be better. And I think we've talked about this before, and I know many of you have been on our talks with the new purchase buyer is going to be the millennial, and they're the ones using Yelp, in my opinion, as much more than anyone. But I know I use Yelp when I go to look for a restaurant or a service. So if someone as old as me uses it, I'm sure a lot of other people are using it too. So I think this gives us a chance to really look at it. And we have a great person here on the call with us. This is Michael Tragash. Did I say that right, Michael?
Tragash.
Good, I told you.
It's okay. Don't worry.
He has been with Yelp for years, and he's going to go ahead and talk to us about how to set up the page properly, how to make sure that we are at the top, because I think that will make you stand out. And he'll tell us how to do it for free, how we do our free access, right, Michael?
You got it.
I love it. So it's not like you have to spend money. So you guys are investing in yourselves just by being on this call. And I know even just getting 1 or 2 Yelp, you know, people will be huge for most of our businesses. So let's do it, Michael. If you have anything you'd like to add, please tell us about yourself, about Yelp, and about that wonderful background you have.
Yeah, I mean, these Zoom meetings are super fun, and I think virtual backgrounds are part of the whole show. So I needed to find a good one, and I Googled free Zoom backgrounds and found this one, which is a replica of a modern take on Jerry Seinfeld's living room from the show Seinfeld. People are always like, oh, I want to live where you do. I said, yeah, I wish that was my living room too. But
when he said that to me, I was like, I thought Jerry's was a little bit more run down, but that's a modern take.
So my name is Michael Tragash, and I am the Senior Community Director for Yelp and Yelp Reno, or Yelp Northern Nevada, if you want to broadly apply it, because the closest community manager to us here in Reno is in Sacramento. And then closest outside of that would be Vegas, or, well, I guess then technically the Bay Area is closer than Vegas, but we got Vegas and Salt Lake City. So those are our surrounding markets. So my job is to be a resource to local businesses, to be the front-facing picture of Yelp in the community and the physical embodiment of the mission of Yelp, which is to connect people to awesome local businesses. I moved to Reno.
So we're in all of us in Tahoe Truckee are in your region. Great.
Absolutely. Between myself and Alex Lane in Sacramento, we're both here on either side of this awkward kind of market. I'm technically Reno Sparks, defined by our metric bubble, but we all know that Carson City, Truckee, South Lake, Incline Village, those are all within our market. So I consider all those places, all those businesses, all those people to be within the Yelp Reno community, for lack of a better descriptor.
Yeah.
I moved to Reno in 2008. I followed my then girlfriend, now wife, out here, who was pursuing a PhD at the university. I figured coming from the University of Florida with a marketing degree, having worked with a boutique agency, been on the client side, worked business to business, all in the first couple of years right out of school, that making the leap from a large metropolitan city to a smaller community here in Reno would be pretty easy to like come in and find a job. The only thing I wasn't calculating was the fact that this is a recession, or it was a recession, a major recession. And I didn't know anybody out here, and this community as a whole is very much about, they're a little bit insulated with who they are. And if you're from the outside, it takes a minute to kind of crack through that shell and find your way there. During that time, I kind of developed my entire philosophy on business, which is to ask the question, how can I help first? I want to be able to offer you all value up front, and on the back end, it all comes around somehow. I learned that by meeting one individual. I took myself on a self-guided tour of all the ad and marketing agencies in Reno, dropping off resumes, trying to meet as many people as I could in that time. And the last stop of the day was at a digital agency in South Reno called 12 Horses. I walked through the door, and the gentleman, there was only 2 people in the building, and the guy sits me down at his desk and he says, here's what the landscape of Reno networking looks like, and these are the people to meet in each group, and from there you will figure the rest out yourself, I can tell. So I went and took his advice, and here we are, umpteen years later. I've been working with Yelp. I've done a lot of things in between, but I've been with Yelp for the last nearly 7 years. And this is the job I was supposed to be doing, because that boutique agency I mentioned in the beginning, I started there as an intern, and the principal of that agency had run the largest independent owned agency in the Southeast, hired me on as an intern, and in that first year turned to me and he said, Michael, you're a connector. If you could get paid to connect people, you will have found your calling. And that is my job with Yelp. I'm here to connect people to awesome local businesses, telling the stories behind those storefronts and giving them a deeper reason to be part of the community that we all know and love. And so it's my pleasure to be able to talk to so many business owners across all kinds of industries, to learn about them, and then to be able to walk out of that meeting and tell other people about who they are, why they're valuable, and what they could bring to the table for others. Nothing gives me more joy in the world than to be able to do that on behalf of other people. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to meet you all and to learn from you all. And I hope that I can share a few things with you that you'll find valuable and take to others as well.
Thank you. We are excited. I'm excited.
All right. So I have a short presentation. I'm going to walk us through it. It'll give us the basics, but then the beauty of Zoom is that once we've done that, I can open up different windows. We can look and take care of specific questions. We can explore together. So I'm going to launch the presentation and share from there. And then at the end, we'll have plenty of time to take questions, and feel free to interject along the way. I guess, Katie Shive, if you want to look and see if anyone's sharing questions in chat and just kind of like interrupt me, because when I share the screen, I won't be able to see everybody.
Yep.
So I'll go ahead and share now and get the presentation going. Let's see here, we don't need that. Just want this. That, cool. So I won't be able to see the chat, but I will be able to see this. So let's start at the beginning. All right, so we're going to talk about your business on Yelp. And the website you see displayed on the screen, on the computer on there, is the URL is biz.yelp.com. That is the access portal to your business owner page on Yelp. You gain access to that once you have claimed your page, and I'm going to walk you through how to do that once we go through these slides. But
Michael,
yes.
Really quick, can you just give a high level, because I'm not sure if everybody knows this, can you just tell really quickly the difference between a Yelp personal page and a Yelp business page?
Absolutely. So once you've claimed your business listing on Yelp, you then have a business owner profile and a business owner account on Yelp, and that is accessed through this website, biz.yelp.com. That is where you, as the business owner, can manage and update everything about your business, your hours, your address, your photos that you post. Where you can respond to reviews. You can see the reviews that have been posted over the last week. You can use the ad features and things of that nature. It's all within the business owner account, which we'll go through. Yelp.com is the consumer-facing site, and the app, Yelp, is where people can go as individuals and post reviews and comments on business pages, add photos, engage with each other, explore our collections, which are groups of businesses either assembled by Yelp algorithms or assembled by individuals, which I'll show you in a minute because they're actually a really, really cool free tool that you can use yourself on the consumer side of the site. And so while the only place they interface is you'll see comments and responses to reviews from businesses and business owners on the consumer side of the site. You can also see photos that business owners have uploaded to their business owner account on the consumer side of the site. But other than that, everything else is completely different. So like when Katie mentioned using Yelp to find restaurants and other services in the local market or wherever she might be, that's all done on the consumer side of the site. The business owner side of the site is simply for maintaining the listings that you have claimed and own for your business yourself.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does
And
anyone
I'll
have any questions on that? Because I would think all of us hopefully have both.
yeah, you definitely want to have both.
Okay. Hopefully everybody has both. I can't tell. But
There we go. Okay, cool. This is me. I already kind of gave you the brief overview of who I am and where I came from and all that good stuff, but that's my email address. An even easier one to remember is reno@yelp.com, both of which come to my inbox. So whether you have a specific question about your Yelp page, you just need to rant or rave about someone who left you something nasty, I'll receive all of it in that inbox and we'll respond to you in due time. I was explaining to the Katies earlier that there isn't a question that I haven't been asked in the last 7 years. So feel free to send anything my way. I will subtract your emotion from the email, find the answer to the question, and then get right back to you. So don't worry, take that down. You can also share that email address with anyone else that you need to. One of the most common things that people tell me is that they didn't know that Yelp actually had people that work for them. So anyone that tells you that, you can now say that you've met at least one person and you have their email address and you can reach out to me.
that's great. Yeah, I'd keep that, everyone. We'll send it to you as well, but
Yeah.
gosh, you have a resource. In this day of digital, it's great to have digital, but I know, at least me, I always feel like it's nice to be able to reach out when you hit that crux point where you can't get past. So
It absolutely is. You know, my job as the community director is to, again, connect people to great local businesses. An additional layer to that I mentioned is that I like to tell the stories behind the storefront. But let's start with what exactly the Yelp community consists of. It's twofold. There's consumers and there are business owners. And Yelp is a platform that connects those two. And so this smattering of images on the screen here is a group of business owners and Yelpers out exploring and connecting with each other. We have some incredible stories in our community across all sorts of industries. And that's what I find most amazing about my role, is that I get to meet these people and learn these stories. In the top right of the screen is a gentleman named Fausto. He owns a small bakery on Vassar and Kitski. It's called Panaderia Mi Linda Guatemala. And he moved here from Guatemala under political asylum after 2 of his children were murdered by the government. I tell this story because it's a story of triumph. This gentleman had contracts with all of the major prisons in the country of Guatemala before this incident occurred. He did not like the political climate in his country and he spoke out against it. And as a result, he became a target and had to move here and slowly bring his entire family here and rebuild his very successful life there, here in the United States. Today, his business is thriving. He's supported by his daughter and his son, his other son, who both have come here and have made successful lives for themselves. And the fun part of the story is that when he came here, he left so traumatically, he had forgotten completely about his baking skills and his recipes and everything else because it was all in his head. He didn't know what to do. And when his daughter came, he was working as a porter at the Silver Legacy, and she encouraged him to just start baking again. And the first couple of batches were awful. She would take them to work, and then she would buy them herself out of her tip money and give them away to other people just to keep him going. And so years later, he finally said, you know, after the health department caught wind that he was doing this out of his house back then, they told him he had to stop. So he just kept fighting and fighting and fighting and found himself this little tiny bakery. They make incredible breads and pastries. And he is now, like, his bakery is now the hub for the Guatemalan community here in Reno. And so I discovered it by organizing an event. And this is an incredible story that I just like to share with everybody because you wouldn't know that that's here in our community if you don't just open doors and start looking around yourself. And on the bottom
You'll
left,
have to send us the link. I know we all want to go there at some point. At least I do, and I'm sure Katie and
I will be happy to share that.
everybody.
The bottom right is Butcher Boy, you know, a story of ups and downs as well in our community. And that's just an example of some of our Yelp Elite Squad getting hands-on and learning about the process of what goes into the business so that they themselves have a deeper appreciation for what's here in our community as well. Bottom left is another really interesting story, and that is these are the owners of all Sonic franchises in Northern Nevada. They're brothers and sisters. Tragically lost their parents suddenly and due to various medical conditions. And at the age of 26, Taylor in the middle now runs the entire operation for all of Northern Nevada. She had to, but they've celebrated 20 years in business this year. And people drive past the Sonic logo every day thinking it's some massive corporation.
Yeah.
But there's a group
That's what I
of,
thought.
yep, but all the ones you see here in Northern Nevada from Fallon, Fernley, Carson, these are Minden, these are all owned by these three siblings. And it's as locally owned as it gets. I mean, they employ tons of people. And so I aim to shift beliefs about, you know, what businesses are here in our community as well by creating these stories that deepen those connections. And then right in the middle, like I said, the crux of this is that these people become friends. They go out and they explore the community together, and they help encourage others to do the same. And so that's the power of Yelp. That one Yelp review was written by one individual, placed on one Yelp page for one business. But the impact of those words one time, over time, is immense. And capturing that opportunity is what we're here to talk about today. How do we start the word of mouth engine by making sure that we have positioned ourselves properly on the website and are doing what we can to generate the important feedback that we need to be able to improve.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we're going to cover a few things today. We're going to talk a little bit about what I just mentioned in a deeper detail about the consumer behavior in Yelp, how to complete your profile, what to do with your own photos, how to respond to reviews. Pretty straightforward. So we all know that consumers are using online reviews to find products and businesses that they want to support and give their business to. We're all familiar with all kinds of reviews that we encounter on a daily basis. You know, you can go to Amazon, you can use the reviews there to determine whether you're going to buy a product. You can look for maybe movie reviews are not so relevant right now, but they're out there. And of course, Uber likes us to rate the drivers, and as such, we get rated as passengers. But why do we use these reviews? It comes down to one word, and that is trust. We trust the opinions of others as a conglomeration to make a decision of our own based on what we want to do with our money. And as you can see, most consumers are using online reviews. Show of hands, does anybody not use online reviews at all? Like completely avoid them? Yeah. And then there's the trust factor. 85% trust the reviews that they read. And that's really where the meat of this is at. You trust what you read because there's a lot of content to consume, and you're able to make decisions based on the average experience of everyone around you. So it's really, really useful. And most consumers do trust Yelp reviews to make local business decisions. The proof in that is if you look at the most beloved restaurants in our community or businesses in our community that have high foot traffic, you will see that they're going to rank around 4 to 5 stars. They're doing a good job of making sure that they are providing a great consumer experience every time someone walks through the door. And that translates to high quality Yelp reviews. It's not in this deck, but there's actually a graph that shows the customer service experience to likelihood of having a 5-star rating. And it's simply, if there's great customer service, it's a big J. It just goes straight through the roof. So if you focus on making sure your customers are aware of, like, with regard to the business you're in, all points of the process, they understand what to expect along the way, that you keep them up to date on timelines and things along that lines, and that they're aware of what's in your control and out of your control as far as what product you're providing them. At the end of it, I feel like they're going to leave as an educated consumer who had a great experience with someone who guided them along that way. And that will result in really, really high quality Yelp reviews for your business. And yeah, we are the #1 trusted site for finding local businesses. And so we're going to talk about how you get found. Really quickly though, the demographics, because Katie, you brought that up earlier, that the millennial home buyer is the new home buyer. I definitely am on the edge of that realm, but fit that description. And so I could say that that's very true. As I talk to people who are a couple years younger than me, and I realize that they're in this mindset as well. And as you can see, Yelp's users fit right into that bucket. They are the consumer you want. And so they're a consumer you want to reach. And Yelp is how you get to them. So we talked about this right at the beginning. biz.yelp.com, that is the URL for claiming your business page, accessing your business owner account once it's been claimed, and accessing all of the free tools that are associated with business owners are available to business owners on Yelp. One thing I didn't mention at the very beginning is that I personally do not sell any of the ad products that you will find back there. I am not here to sell those products to you. There are other people that will do that, and they are much better suited to tackle that than I am. I am happy to share some things that I've seen working for other people and one-on-ones, but just take a look at that as you get into the business owner account and explore. There's also an app for business owners. People in your industry I would highly suggest downloading it. It's kind of a light version of what you find on the website. I usually give a cautionary tale of don't set up push notifications or things like that for restaurants, because just the volume of reviews that are coming in, they're just be inundated and be focused on that at all times. And I'd rather see people focusing on their businesses. But, for industries that don't have as high a volume, it's probably a good idea to enable those, because when you do get one, it means you can go in and respond in a very timely manner and let people know that you appreciate it. So
yeah, I was gonna say that we definitely have the app downloaded, and it's great because every time we get a review, it's an instant push notification, and then we can respond very timely. And I don't know if you have this in your slide deck, but the likeliness or the response time actually matters for the consumer as well.
very much so.
And can multiple people, let's say like Allie has a partner, John, can both of them get those not notifications, but like, can they both have the downloaded business app and both be able to respond?
Absolutely. You'll be creating when you claim your page, you're creating a email password login. So if you share that, it will send, obviously only one email address will be receiving the correspondence, but you could both use that to log in. You can also share your business owner page with somebody else. So I'll find that link and make sure that those that have partnerships set up, they'll be able to both create their own individual logins. I do have to look into whether or not you can set up multiple, because on your business owner account, you'll set up the who the manager is with a photo and a little information about that person. And so I need to see if when you set up a shared business owner account, you're able to actually create two separate manager profile or two separate manager situations so they know who's responding?
I'll tell you from my experience, because I do this, I help Katie do this. And so she has her account and then I'm delegated as a manager on her account. So it will depend. If I'm responding, then it would come under my profile. If Katie's responding, it will come under her name.
So if you log in with your email, Katie Shive, then it will say that
Katie Shive
is responding. So it has your picture and a little description of who you are in the organization?
Yeah, or we could respond under Katie Rice's account. But if you have a delegated manager, your manager or whoever your partner is, it will say that they're responding.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Perfect. There we go. That's the answer. So yes. And I will get that link so that everyone knows how to add someone as a manager of their page.
That's great. We asked you a question that maybe nobody had asked you before.
It's true. I discovered the shared, I knew they could share access, and I saw a link I did a session last week for the Sam Olsen group with Remax, and we had that question about sharing come up, so I found the link in our support center, but I have never seen it in practice, so that was very helpful. Thank you.
Personally, I don't love it. I wish that you could ghost. So if you're managing a team, it would be nice if whoever's managing could write as that person, but there's workarounds.
Well, and the truth is, the first situation, the first way I mentioned, you can. So if you create one singular login and that individual has and anyone you share that email and password with can log in and respond as that manager. So if you logged in as Katie Rice, you could be responding as Katie Rice.
Yeah. And I just put just so everybody knows, I just put the link in there. So it's just biz.yelp.com / you go under settings under user management.
Thanks, Katie.
Has everyone set up and or claimed a Yelp page before? Anyone on this call, I guess, aside from the Katies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe who hasn't might be a better question.
Yeah.
I hope everybody has, but
Allie, have you? Yep. Okay.
yeah, maybe anyone who hasn't can let us know and we can help.
Yeah, so to claim your business page, just before we jump into completing it, claiming your business page, like I said, you can go to biz.yelp.com, search for your business, and then once you find it, you can go through the claiming process from there. If you do not have a Yelp page yet, you definitely want to create one. Yelp is one of the most optimized websites for search in the world, and so when you type in local business search results, even though Google would like you to see their stuff first, Yelp results still populate organically at the top of these searches. So you're going to want a Yelp page that references you, so at least that will show up in one regard. As people click through to it, they will see your website and move through to your page. It's just a really easy way to push traffic through. And so once you create your Yelp page, it takes a few days to actually populate on our website and in the app. And once that happens, you'll get an email from Yelp that says claim your business listing. And if you click on that link, it will take you to biz.yelp.com and ask you to walk through the process. If at any point you have issues with that, you can let me know. I'm happy to help with that process. It sometimes takes a little longer than people would like. But the trick is, once you find the Yelp page, or once you create the Yelp page, it'll show it on your screen with no photo. It'll have all your information and everything like that. And at the top, the URL will be there. That URL will not change. So it might say something like, it'll say yelp.com / Katie Rice Team Guild Mortgage or something like that. And that is your URL, and it is based on the business name that you type in. And if you save that, you can always go back to that page and check on it over the next few days ahead of the email. And as soon as you see the claim this page link, you can click on it and go through the process. Just make sure you have a good phone number attached to it that you can actually answer, because that's usually how they call. So it's a phone call that you just input a code and then it's yours. All right, completing your business page. So as we said, you log in at biz.yelp.com and you see this great dashboard or this app screen on the right. You can toggle your activity back and forth between 30 days, 12 months, 24 months to kind of see the traffic to your page. On the left, you have a bunch of different opportunities to customize the page. The ads tab will talk to you about what they sell. Page upgrades are things that include like what we call a call to action, which is like set an appointment now. So you can actually encourage people to just click through and directly from the Yelp page, create the actions that you want to see. You can also toggle your photos there using a slideshow feature. These are all paid feature upgrades on your profile, which I actually think in regards to real estate and mortgage companies, it matters a lot. Restaurants, I usually tell them like, this is up to you depending on how much brand preservation you really want to have on your Yelp page. So I go to Yelp to find user-generated content, but when it comes to the mortgage industry, you don't really have a lot of user-generated content because it's all in an office setting or done online. And so things you could show are, obviously headshots are one, great photos of your comfortable office space where you work with your clients, previous happy clients or things like that are great examples of photos that you could upload to your page. And if you did generate a bunch of user content that kind of overshadowed the stuff that you posted yourself organically, the slideshow feature allows you to prioritize those images over the others. And then business information is a big one that we're going to get to in this section. Reviews is where you'll be able to see your reviews. An interesting tidbit on the review tab is that reviews on the business owner page show chronologically, whereas on the consumer side of the site, people visiting your Yelp page do not see those reviews in chronological order. So that one review that you're not happy about that you got yesterday does not show first for consumers when they access your Yelp page. It's not a cause for alarm. It's an opportunity to learn and engage and interact with the consumer. And so we should treat it as such. And I'll show you how to deal with that later. Photos and videos is where you can upload photos as the business owner. I mentioned that you could see your photos that you uploaded as a business owner on the consumer side of the site. So if you use that photos tab in your business owner account to upload those photos, it will say on the Yelp page very transparently, this photo was uploaded to the business owner. If you post it from your consumer Yelp account on your Yelp page, it might say Katie R posted a photo to Katie Rice's Guild Mortgage page. And that just looks kind of fishy.
So the best practice would be to upload content under your business page. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's the most transparent way. I mean, again, I don't think in the other side of the consumer site versus the business site is that as a consumer, again, if you upload this, then your friends and connections on Yelp are seeing this image that you uploaded as well. So there's a social component to it. And when the business owner uploads a photo, that does not happen. It just stays on the Yelp page for people to discover. So yeah, it's a little gray area. Definitely the best practice is to use this. I would say there's not a dramatic amount of harm necessarily if you posted something from your personal page.
Okay, thanks.
Inbox is where all your messages end up. And then community questions, we have a new feature on the site where like if someone has a question, generally speaking about the business that other Yelpers might be able to answer, they can ask the community question, and then Yelp generates some automatic emails to people who have recently reviewed the business to give them an opportunity to answer, and then the business owner can also answer. Okay. So under business information, this is what that tab looks like. It's all of your basic stuff. This is where you can update all of that. Name, address, phone number, website, categories, attributes. And attributes are things like, are you good for groups? Do you specialize in a certain area? Is there free parking nearby? That kind of stuff that you can elect to let people know ahead of time. And then this is also where you get to update. We talked about hours. If you're closing, this isn't that relevant to this group. This is the meaty section of the business information section of the site. This is the stuff that I think gets overlooked the most and is actually the most valuable. Sure, Google is going to crawl Yelp for listings like, mortgage broker in Reno, Nevada, and in Pine Village. And the more times your page references the things that you do, obviously the more opportunity there is for you to show up in those relevant searches. Under this section, you have the opportunity to fill in all the personal information about yourself that really the search engine is most likely to find first versus consumers. So taking the time to carefully write this content, make sure that your content is optimized for what you do and the areas that you specialize in, and also gives people the background that you want them to have. That's what you want to make sure that you're putting into this section of the page. And then right down at the bottom, you see the Meet the Owner Manager. This is so that when someone responds, you'll see information there as well.
Michael, I have a question. I know in the past when we've put it like in Truckee, it doesn't necessarily show up in Tahoe City as the closest thing, and yet we have a few different locations, like I'm sure many people do. Is that possible, or do you have to be just like Anne is in Truckee, so Truckee real estate agent, that would be the first one that shows up? How does that, do you understand my question? That's why I didn't type it, because I wasn't sure how to ask that question.
I sort of understand it. Are you saying that you have like multiple offices or a wider service
I'm just
area?
saying that we want, let's say we want to be in Tahoe City as well, because I live in Tahoe City. Can you put like on this, like my Yelp, when it says closest mortgage brokers, it doesn't necessarily show up as Tahoe City being one of them. So I don't know
You're
if agents
searching
do both areas, how that shows up for them, if they have to designate Truckee as their main thing, because that's where their main offices are, but they do the whole area.
So there's one situation that I know of with regard to like contractors where they can label a service area. And I'm assuming there's probably that as well for real estate. So you can outline an area that you service. I need to find out how you designate that, because the business owner account I have doesn't have, I'm not set up as a real estate agent, so I don't have the same exact backend that you do.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I think it's a service area would certainly address it. But with regard to how you write this content, you definitely want to put, you can put that in there, serving all the cities that you do work in.
Okay.
And that should help in some regard.
Okay.
Obviously, the physical address is the address of the office. And so it doesn't necessarily naturally expand beyond like what it deems as normal.
Okay.
But service area is probably a good one. So let me make a note of that. And
that'd be helpful. Thank you. For all of us, I think.
yeah, absolutely. And so these are the areas to make sure that are always constantly up to date. It's very, very straightforward. If you're going to be open, you want people to know when you're open. Your basic information like your website and your address should be correct. If you take the time to fill in the specialties, history, meet the owner bio, those are all very juicy bits for the SEO piece of Yelp, and I believe for your pages as well. And then the recommendations, those are recommended businesses that you can actually add to your business owner page, where people can actually see what businesses you also recommend that are either complementary to your industry or just fun things that you want to highlight.
That's great. So we could do, all these people who are on the call, we could like their businesses.
Mm-hmm. You can add them
awesome.
to other recommended agents. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well,
there's
we'll
a limit of like 5
if you guys can do it for us, we'll do it for you.
Yeah. And then, and those are just linked. I'll show you where that gets linked in your business owner profile. They're just linked to the page. But I'll show you another great resource on the consumer side, which is why I said it's very valuable to have both after we exit out of this presentation. Those are called Yelp collections, and they're a really easy way to share things. All right, so we pretty much already talked about this, but you definitely want photos on your page, and the data says that people spend a lot more time on pages with photos. So making, I think, making a photo section of a mortgage broker's page fun and engaging would be, highlighting just the things that you love about the community as well. They're all relevant because you are your business and your office is not your business. It's just the place you do your business. So highlighting yourself a little bit and making sure people understand that not only are you there for them, but giving a little bit of a picture into who you are professionally and personally is probably a great approach to photos for your industry.
I like it.
And we talked about where you upload those. I like to go through the whole list while everybody's talking on the first page. So you click the Photos and Videos tab, and that's where you can upload the photos. Here are a couple of examples of photos that could apply across the board, and that you could upload yourself. A lot of these are geared towards the restaurant space, but in reality, you all have teams, you all have places of business. You might have some special tools that are proprietary, like when they talk about most reviewed items, you might have some things that are enticing and exciting to people that you could post on your Yelp page just to kind of give them a glimpse into your process. And then
you could probably post like recently sold or things that would show, hey, here's why you should hire me. Here's what.
Yeah, so many good. I like this page. This is awesome.
Yeah,
so these are, feel free to screenshot away if there's anything, but I shared it with Katie too, so she has the actual presentation.
Yeah, I'll send the presentation out to everybody afterwards.
I still took a picture because it was so cool.
Yeah, so they have, so really like think broadly about what's here and how you can make yourself an attractive proposition for someone who's either, you know, your typical client, either new to Reno and buying their first home, has been here a long time. There's lots of ways you can make this both professional and personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can even do like things to do in Tahoe. Like there's a lot of really cool, like highlighting other small businesses. This is cool.
Yeah, well, and let me show you how to do that in a more appropriate way. Those might not be great photos. Like you at a place in Tahoe, yes, like showing how you explore the area. Just random photos of the area or businesses that you love.
Yeah.
But I'll show you I'll show you a really cool tool for doing that. And I'm my mistake. I assumed I was talking mostly to mortgage professionals, but I realized there's some real estate agents on this call and brokers probably as well. So my apologies for that. Stop me at any time with other questions that are specific to the real estate side.
I think business is business. You know, it's all sales and it's all business, so it's all good.
True.
It's really helpful.
The only thing, Michael, I just want to make you aware that we do stop at 1:30, so I just want to make sure we leave a couple minutes at the end for questions.
Okay, I'm gonna fly through the rest of this. Do make sure that you caption at your photos that you upload. Those are very helpful as well for both people that find them and Google. Flags and updates. Flags are both available on the review tab and the photo tab. So if someone does upload a completely inappropriate photo of you or something related to your page, you can report that photo for removal. Same way you can do that for reviews. In the reviews, you want to pick a topic and make sure that it fits the description. There's a little drop down, but you'll see that little flag icon right next to it. Responding to reviews, this is what Katie was talking about before, that you can see an uptick in the response to your review. I know I had this experience like last week. I went to the UPS store. I was in the mask and gloves, and I noticed that the gentleman behind the register, even though there was a shield, wasn't wearing gloves and was handling the package that I brought in, and I was mostly concerned for that person, not for me. And the response from the business was, we do have hand sanitizer and gloves available to all associates. I know it may not be in view of the public, blah, 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 but trust that we're taking care of everybody. And I went back and I updated my review from 4 to 5 stars and saying, thank you for taking care of your staff and keep staying open and operating for us. So it does work, very straightforward. This is a little graphic of when you want to use a public comment versus a private comment. I want you all to think about a public comment as an opportunity to recognize and be accountable for the actions that may have happened. Remember that perception is what's most important in all transactions. And so if they perceive that they had a good experience, then they're going to walk away and write that review. And if you can alter that perception for an incoming consumer who might be reading a review that's less than positive and says like, well, I'm sorry that was your response, but I'm reaching out to you privately for more information, that shows a responsible business owner. And that's the way that you want to portray yourself at all times. And then with positive reviews, you do want to acknowledge those as well. Thank them for adding them and just letting them know that you appreciate the time they took to share their experience. So when you do encounter reviews, decide which way that you're going to go. You definitely want to take a minute to absorb everything before responding. Always take that responsible and accountable and professional high road. And make sure that you're making everyone feel comfortable, both the person that might read the response that you wrote and the person receiving the response at the same time. So we're going to complete our business pages. We're going to make sure we've got relevant photos uploaded, and we're going to take time to respond to reviews, and help is always here. I added the support center down there, yelp-support.com. It's kind of like, if anyone remembers Ask Jeeves, you can answer just about any question you want on the support center. But if it's not there or it's confusing, you have my information as well. And we've got time for Q&A.
Awesome.
I'm going to show, while we get to questions, I'm going to show one more thing, but go right ahead, fire away.
Yeah, if anybody has questions, you guys, please feel free to take yourself off mute and fire away. See if anybody has anything.
So I do have one question.
Yeah, go for it, Liz.
Yeah, so with the address of your business, for example, there's 30 agents that work out of the office in Tahoe City. If I put the address in, or actually for Truckee, for example, if I put the address in, it comes up that that business has been claimed.
Okay, can you tell me what business?
Liz.
Can you tell me what business we're talking about? So like,
It's Chase International.
in Tahoe.
So it's the one in Truckee, actually.
So, okay, let's see.
I'm just pulling it up while you're talking. So you could go ahead and ask from there.
So basically, if you, for example, on my Yelp for Business page, I've got, it says enter your address. So I have the office in Tahoe City, and I was going to put in the office in Truckee, and it comes up as, that address is under other agents.
And Liz, one question, were you going to put both addresses? Because when you have two separate, can you do that, Michael? First of all, that's my question. Can you have two addresses like she has?
So yes, if you have two offices, I would highly suggest creating two listings, because they're two physical places. So you should definitely have two listings for that.
Are they separate Yelp listings then, or are they?
There'll be separate Yelp pages for the two offices that you work out of. It's just an additional footprint on Yelp, but it is relevant because while they're the same business on paper, like someone who would visit the Truckee location may not visit the Tahoe City location for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to check out that service area for us, because that would solve the problem too, right? If we put a service area as opposed to, because I think it'd be hard to manage a couple pages, but that's just my personal.
Yeah, so service area, I've got, like 8 different zip codes as areas that I service around. But the only reason that it even came to my attention is that it said, if you have a second location, enter in the address. And then that's where it came up with, we're jockeying with 30 different agents for the same address for the office location. So it's a little.
Well, keep in mind, I guess I'm not sure if I'm answering the question, because I'm not sure what the specific question is. Is it just about whether or not to have 2 pages?
No, it sounds like she's saying she's trying to claim, and correct me if I'm wrong, Liz, it sounds like you're trying to claim your business page, and when you put in your address, Yelp is saying that business has already been claimed, because there's 30 agents that work for that brokerage at that address. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, the page being claimed and the address are 2 separate things. So the physical address, like, people can share there can be multiple listings at one address, because you can think about like the West Street Market in downtown Reno, there's 5 businesses in that one place, and it's all the same physical address. So we can have the same address, and you can have multiple agents sharing that office with their own Yelp pages. And in fact, I do recommend that. Like, if you look at just look at how Dixon Realty has set up their Yelp pages. They're all very consistently branded, and all the agents have their own pages. Or many of the more successful agents, I should say, have their own pages. And so you can create one for each of the agents can create one as well. And you can apply a brand standard to that look and feel, and make sure that everybody is looking the same for Chase International. I found the one listing, I believe, at Donner 10344 Donner Pass.
Donner Pass Road, yeah.
Yeah, and so you like that page is for the main office. This page you could have or not have. Obviously, it has reviews for everybody or for a couple of people on here. But since multiple agents share the office and each agent is almost their own business, again, I'd highly suggest they have their own business listing.
So would it be Liz and then just the address, right?
Yeah, let me find. I'll put a link in to like one of those that I was talking about from Dixon that just shows. Yeah, it would say your name and then real estate agent Chase International or something like that. Here's one. I just popped up sponsor result. So this says
I looked up Allie's, and it's her name and her husband's name, and then hyphen Chase International Real Estate.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and this was
yeah. So you could do, Liz. You could do like your first last name and hyphen. Yeah.
Does that help, Liz?
Yeah, it's fine. It's just there might be some technical thing on my end that's not allowing.
Definitely email me or call me, and I'll walk through it with you. It's no problem to take the time to do that for you.
Okay.
Yay. Good question too, Liz. I think that was helpful for a lot of people. So thank you.
Are you guys, I guess I'll ask this question to everybody else that's on. Are you guys, when you're working with clients, are you asking at the end of your transaction when you close, are you asking for reviews, or have any of you built that into your scripting to try to build your online review presence?
And I hear you, I see you talking, but we can't hear you.
I can hear you, Ann.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So a long time ago, I did ask for a 0 review, and I asked, and one client I didn't ask, and it showed up on my profile. And then the second one I asked, and her review never showed up. And so later go back and forth with Yelp, and they say that, oh, well, because she didn't do a lot of reviews, so basically it's like they don't trust it. But then after that, I get a barrage of calls from Yelp wanting me to go with their program pay, and they say if I do that, then all my client review will show up. So that's kind of turned me off. And I have since then, I've only asked for my client to review me on Zillow and never from Yelp again. So how do you address that, Michael?
You got it, Ann. That's a good question. I was just waiting for it to come up. So thank you for asking. Everyone
That's a good
always
question.
comes
I had
up.
that too.
Yeah. So, I think about it this way, right? If I searched for pizza on Google, right? And I get all these results and they show me a million things and they're all out of order and random. We don't know what's relevant or reliable out of all that content. But we trust that the Google algorithm is going to tell us the top review or the top rated business there. It's the same idea as like you move to a new city and your best friend lives next door. On the other side, there's somebody who you've just met, but you don't know that well. And then there's a random person that's just riding their bike down the street. And at the same time, you ask this question of like, where should I go to dinner? Or where's the best pizza? They all say 3 different things. You are going to, you know your friend really well, and you know exactly what they want. You know that they know what you like, and you know what they like. And if your likes are similar, then you're willing to trust that person because you know a bunch about them. The person you just met, you know a little bit about them, so you might value their opinion slightly less than your friends or somewhere along those lines. Then this random person just rolling down the street who screams out, pizza shop A, you're like, well, who is that? And why should I believe this person? And so the recommendation software, which is what Ann was talking about, where the review disappeared, is there to make sure that you see people like your friend and possibly like the person next door, but you don't see reviews from people who fit the description of random Joe riding by screaming out a name. And that is how Yelp keeps the reviews on the site relevant and reliable to the people who are reading them. because there's a lot of reasons for someone to take the time. There are a lot of less than ideal reasons for someone to take the time to write reviews. So if you said, hey, I'm going to lower your mortgage by a point if you give me a 5-star Yelp review, I mean, that's probably not going to happen. But if you had the power to do that, just to generate a bunch of 5-star reviews and they all start showing up on your page at once, what does that say about the business, and how is that giving reliable information to a consumer? So the recommendation software is in place to make sure that what consumers encounter on the site is reliable and relevant. And as a result, only about 75% of the reviews that are written populate onto Yelp pages all over at any given time. And the reviews that don't populate are not gone, but they live in the not recommended section of each Yelp page. And I'm looking at Anne's right now, and at the bottom of her Yelp page, she has 2 reviews that are not recommended. And if you click that, you can actually read those reviews. And what you'll see is if you look at the users that wrote those reviews, while this is not always a guarantee, it's definitely a pattern that you'll notice from business to business. Both of the users that are not recommended on Anne's Yelp page one has a photo and 1 review and no connections on Yelp. The other has no connections on Yelp and 3 reviews and no profile photo. And so while seeking to highlight the relevant and reliable reviews that are submitted by relevant and reliable members of the community, if you wrote a review in 2005 when Yelp started, and then you wrote another one in 2010 and another one, it doesn't know the motivation for each one of those individual reviews, and it isn't looking at it as one it's just a person who writes a casual Yelp review, and the motivations for those reviews that have been shared could be across the board. And so it just seeks to remove all kinds of inherent bias, both good and bad. It's there to keep the content on the up and up. And the reviews that are in there can also show up again. And so they can come out of that pile and join your Yelp page at any time in the future, because the software is actually looking at them every day for new signals. And I always suggest to people, like, when you see that happen, you still thank that person, either, especially in a business where it's one-to-one, like, you know your clients. So having that conversation about, I really appreciate you taking the time to share this with me. There are lots of other businesses that benefit from you sharing your experiences with them, and just encouraging them to do 1 or 2 other ones along the way can actually help that review join your page in the future. So those 2 that are there right now, and can actually come back in the future. But the one thing that I never suggest is incentivizing or, asking outright. The Yelp logo and just talking about feedback in general is kind of a dog whistle to consumers these days. They know what you're saying when you ask about those things and have that conversation. And so just making feedback part of your process will generate reviews across all platforms organically. I always suggest including a link to your Yelp page in your email signature too, because all of the communications you have with people, it just reminds them that you value that without ever having to say a word about it as well.
Good
Well,
stuff.
I guess my problem is, when I was getting all those sales calls from Yelp, basically I was told that if I advertise with Yelp, then I would assure that any review would be populated and will be shown. And therein lies the, I don't know.
And to respond to that really quickly, I realize I didn't address that before. There is only one thing that you can buy on Yelp, and that is advertising. Whoever may have said that to you in the past, it is not true. Our sales calls are all recorded 100%. And if that is something that is being mentioned on a phone call, it can easily and quickly be reviewed. And it is not part of what we sell. It is not a part of our service, and it is not a game that we play. It's been disproven time and time again by independent academic studies that Yelp advertisers are not given any kind of preferential treatment with regard to what is and is not recommended on their page. And I'll give Katie a link to a ads FAQ that kind of highlights those studies that you can read for yourself and evaluate. I am here as that resource as well. So if you do receive that phone call and anybody says that to you, I would like to know, so that I can help escalate that concern and make sure that we are keeping our sales force operating correctly. And if the sales calls become, overwhelming, it's very, very simple to ask them to stop that as well. There is a do not call list, and if they violate that request, there are other things that can happen as well. So just funnel all of those concerns through me, and I'll make sure that they get addressed immediately. I've gone through this before. They actually can send me physical transcripts of the conversation. So I've had business owners say, I said this, this, and this. I'm like, well, yeah, okay, you sort of said that, but you also asked this. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Anne. Hopefully that helps answer it. It definitely helped understand it for a little bit for me because I've had that same issue. So thank you, Anne, for asking that question. Michael, thank you so much. I learned a lot off this, and hopefully everybody takes even just one nugget. I always think if you can take one nugget, it's good. So thank you so much for taking the time. And team out there, I have a couple things I wanted to talk about. One is that we are here to hopefully bring you things that will help increase your business. So if you have a subject you'd like us to talk about, please let us know. This is really your agent mastermind, so bringing in your questions is really helpful. And Liz, everybody who's brought in questions, we really value that, and we're trying to create new content for you guys every day just so that 2020 is a good year for you. And we are getting a lot of purchase deals. We already had 5 new purchase deals this week since it's Monday. That's pretty good. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you, not to brag about that, but just to say that there are people purchasing. And if there's any way we can help you, we'd love to. We are in a contest with the Guild Reno, and we're trying to beat them in purchases. So purchase leads. So if you do have any purchase leads this week, we'd love to take care of them, because remember, purchases are always going to be something we prioritize. And I know all of you guys send them to us, but I just had to kind of say that because we want to win the contest. But anyways, and help people at the same time. We're a little competitive here at the Rice team. So anyways, if there's anything we can do, please let us know. And again, if you think of something that we haven't covered or that sounds interesting to you, please let us know, because we want to make this a place where you guys can share information, whether your struggles or, your successes. So if you had any struggles or have anything, now's the time also you can share that. I know we didn't allow a lot of time for that today, but if there's something that you guys really wanted to talk about, please let us know. And then we do have that other Facebook page. Katie, what's it called again? Tahoe Truckee Professionals, Real Estate Professionals.
Yeah, so Tahoe Truckee Real Estate Professionals, and I'll send the link for that as well. I sent you guys, several of you, I sent requests last week, so check your Facebook requests, but I'll send it out in a separate email.
And that's supposed to be a place where you can ask questions. Like we asked the 1031 guy to share his information about what has changed in the investment property 1031 exchanges on there. So hopefully he's done that. I haven't seen yeah. Oh, he did. Katie said he did. So anything that you have to add or questions, please bring them up, and because we really want to make this, as we already know, a great community, but now that we can't see each other as much, to have a platform to do that. So